gravity has been silently working in the background. You don't see it. You don't hear it. You rarely even think about it. But gravity is the invisible force holding everything together. The oceans, the atmosphere, the buildings, and even your own body. Right now, Earth's gravity is pulling you toward the ground at about 9.8 meters per second squared. It's the reason your feet stay planted, why rain falls from the sky, and why the moon orbits our planet instead of drifting away into space. But imagine something impossible happens. For just 5 seconds, gravity suddenly disappears. No warning, no countdown, just gone. At first, you might not notice anything at all. In the very first fraction of a second, the world looks exactly the same. Buildings are still standing, cars are still on the road, and people are still walking. But then something strange begins to happen. Every object that isn't physically attached to the earth begins to float upward. Your coffee lifts out of the cup. Dust rises from the floor. Phones, books, chairs. Anything not bolted down slowly drifts into the air. And then people start floating. Not because they're flying, but because the force that has held them down since the moment they were born has suddenly vanished. Across cities, millions of people begin rising off the ground. Some only a few centimeters at first, others much higher if they were jumping, running, or moving when gravity disappeared. Inside buildings, objects drift through the air like astronauts inside a space station. Cars lift slightly from the road. Loose debris floats everywhere. But what's happening outside is far more dramatic. The oceans begin to move. Gravity is what keeps the oceans pressed against Earth's surface. Without it, water no longer has a reason to stay down. Massive layers of ocean water begin to rise upward, forming enormous floating waves hundreds of meters high, not exploding upward, but slowly drifting away from the surface. Along coastlines, the sea begins to lift into the air like a giant blue curtain. But the most dangerous effect isn't the oceans, it's the atmosphere. The air around you, every breath you take, is also held in place by gravity. Without gravity, the atmosphere begins to expand and drift upward. In just a few seconds, the air wouldn't completely disappear, but it would start spreading outward into space. And then there are the airplanes. Thousands of aircraft are flying through the sky at any given moment. Normally, gravity pulls them downward, while lift from their wings keeps them in controlled flight. But when gravity disappears, airplanes suddenly lose the force they rely on to maintain stable flight paths. Pilots would instantly lose control of their aircraft. Planes would begin drifting unpredictably through the sky. Meanwhile, satellites orbiting Earth would experience something even stranger. Their orbits exist because gravity constantly pulls them toward the planet. Remove gravity, and those satellites would suddenly continue traveling in straight lines, shooting away into space. But remember, this only lasts 5 seconds, and during those 5 seconds, millions of people around the world have floated several meters into the air. Objects are drifting everywhere. Oceans have lifted from their coastlines. Airplanes are destabilized. And then, gravity suddenly returns, instantly. The moment gravity switches back on, everything that floated upward begins falling back down. People crash back toward the ground. Furniture, cars, and debris slam into the surface. The oceans collapse downward again, sending massive waves crashing across coastlines. Airplanes that lost control suddenly plummet. Objects collide with buildings, streets, and each other at dangerous speeds. Even people who floated just 3 or 4 meters into the air could suffer serious injuries from the fall. Across the planet, billions of impacts happen at the same moment. Cities would experience chaos. Infrastructure would be damaged. Transportation systems would collapse. And the oceans would send massive shockwaves across coastlines as water slams back onto the planet's surface. All of this from just 5 seconds without gravity. But here's the strange truth. The Earth itself wouldn't fly apart. The planet's mass would still exist. And gravity between objects would technically still exist, because gravity is a property of mass itself. But if Earth somehow stopped producing the gravitational pull that holds everything near its surface, the delicate balance that supports life would collapse almost instantly. Gravity doesn't just keep us on the ground, it shapes our entire world. It holds our atmosphere in place. It keeps oceans from drifting into space. It keeps the moon orbiting Earth and Earth orbiting the sun. Without gravity, even briefly, our planet would become a chaotic and dangerous place. And yet we almost never think about it. Because gravity is constant, unchanging, reliable. It has been pulling everything toward the center of the Earth for 4.5 billion years. And every second of every day, it continues doing the same quiet job, holding the entire world together. Invisible, silent, but absolutely essential for life as we know it. So the next time you drop something and watch it fall to the ground, remember, that simple motion is proof that one of the most powerful forces in the universe is still working. And without it, even for 5 seconds, the world would never be the same.